In this gripping journey, we're delving into the chilling unknown, showcasing jaw-dropping images that will send shivers down your spine. From shiny metal on Mars to a mysterious flying saucer in 1972, our exploration spans the solar system, revealing the most unnerving snapshots ever captured. Brace yourself for a roller coaster, leaving you questioning reality. Have you ever taken a picture and spotted something in the background that shouldn't be there? Perhaps it was a face, a person, or some mysterious lights. If that was creepy, imagine how terrifying it would be if those things appeared in pictures taken in the middle of space when no one could hear you scream. Apollo 16 UFO. After only 11 days in space, the 3 astronauts aboard Apollo 16 saw something so unbelievable that it demands attention. They caught a glimpse of a strange circular-shaped craft with a great dome-like structure. They were able to capture a short video lasting only a few seconds, which clearly showed the unidentified UFO. Apollo 16 launched on April 16, 1972. It has been almost 30 years since the tape was last seen, and the fact that not a single copy was ever made is even more astonishing than the fact that it disappeared for no apparent reason. Well, that's what they thought. A worker stumbled across the tape at Johnson Space Center. A high-resolution scan of the tape, which was made possible owing to some technical wizardry, made it possible to get a better look at the object. The spacecraft appears to have concentric white and gold circles covering the dome, as well as a long, thin structure protruding from the side. Let's be honest, it is a flying saucer. Apollo 17 Lightning Strike. While a spacecraft was orbiting the moon in 1972, NASA received a sight of a strange object that may have been an alien research center or the headquarters of a foreign nation. They saw a flash of lightning within the dark shadow of the Stein crater. It is unsure if the discharge of electricity is hitting the moon's surface or rising up from deep beneath it. This gave rise to the conspiracy theory that there is an underground moon base buried in the crater. Not as far-fetched as you think, as the US government has drawn up secret plans for a moon base. They even had detailed schematics. It was called Project Horizon, with the aim to be finished in November 1966. Broken tether. The United States of America and Italy celebrated the 75th space mission in 1996 by launching an experimental tether into orbit. The purpose of the mission was to investigate new sources of power, specifically a method to cleanly harness solar wind to power spacecraft. As the crew of the shuttle began deploying the satellite, the umbilical tether snapped, sending the oval-shaped equipment drifting off in the direction of deep space. The mission footage reveals what appeared to be unexplainable bright anomalies flying around the disconnected tether, like wasps swarming around their nest. NASA neatly excluded the bright lights from the mission report and, to this day, has refused to acknowledge or explain the strange phenomena. Did the objects approach the strange floating piece of space debris in order to explore it? Or were they the ones responsible for the tether breaking in the first place? New asteroid sighting. Back in 2012, Bill Young, an amateur astronomer, spotted a curious object in orbit around the planet. It was also seen by a larger telescope in Italy, which determined that the object was around 60 feet long overall and whirling around on its axis at approximately 1 revolution per minute. The space object was designated J002E3. It has since been provisionally identified as the third stage of the Apollo 12 Saturn V based on spectrographic evidence that is compatible with the titanium dioxide that was used in the paint on the rockets. The stage was supposed to be injected into a permanent heliocentric orbit in November of 1969. However, it is now believed that it instead went into an unstable high Earth orbit. It has an approximately 40-year cycle between heliocentric and geocentric orbit. Moon base in the South Pole. In 2009, NASA sent the La Crosse spacecraft to the moon, but in all actuality the mission was a failure. Once it was in orbit, the 2.2-ton payload rocket booster was fired into the Cabela's crater at the southern pole of the moon, striking and creating a tremendous plume of dust and debris. Many people described it as being similar to a kamikaze mission. The purpose of the mission was to have a lunar reconnaissance orbiter take samples during a fly-through in order to determine whether or not moon craters contain frozen water. The images that were sent back from the mission show a rectangular structure in the shadow of the crater, which has led some people to speculate that NASA dropped a nuclear weapon on a moon base in conjunction with a search for water. Mars Henge. Various civilizations have raised rectangular slabs of stone to pay reverence to the paganistic gods, with ceremonies here on planet Earth. There are a few. Stonehenge is located in England. France is the location of the Carnac stones. The list is endless. We are still trying to figure out how ancient humans built these towering structures, let alone how one got on Mars in 2012. An astronomer spotted a monolithic standing stone on the Martian surface. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter confirmed the structure, and it can be seen casting a long shadow that is present in images from two completely different angles. Its straight rectangular sides would suggest that it was created and not formed, similar to the normally curved and natural landscape. It is thought to be over 5 meters in length. Light beams on Mars. The Mars rover Curiosity is the gift that keeps giving. It's still operational and sending data back to this day, a full 6 years longer than expected. On the 3rd of April 2014, Curiosity detected a Martian beacon of light in the distance. A bright light beam can be seen extending up into the sky past the horizon. The light was picked up by the right camera, though strangely not by the left. Easily explained, as there is a delay between the two cameras and the light turned off before the left side camera activated. NASA has provided a few suggestions, none of which have been substantiated. Alien spacecraft on Mars. The Mars Opportunity rover transmitted back an unusual image of what looks to be a large chunk of brilliant reflecting metal poking out of the ground. This image is unlike anything seen in any of the other images we have received from the mission. It really does look exactly how you imagine an alien spacecraft to look. A flat disc with a raised dome on top acting like the cockpit. The resemblance is uncanny. Could this be another case of pareidolia, where we see what we want to see? Or finally some evidence of the existence of intelligent life other than mankind? The dark shadowing around the anomaly makes it difficult to see whether it's coming up from the ground, resting on the ground, or hovering in the air.